What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Today we've got something kind of cool. I'm going to show you a product. This video is actually sponsored by Sweetwater. They brought me, or sent me, a really cool thing. And it is the Mackie DLZ Creator. And what this thing is, actually, for most people's purposes, is a podcasting platform. So what we've got here is we've got 12 channels, and monitor out and headphone amps and all kinds of cool digital processing. We've got a couple of Rode pod mics here that we're going to use to demonstrate all of this with. I'll leave a link to it in the description. You can check it all out. But here's the thing about this. I have, obviously, a podcast and a live stream that we do every week. But this isn't really a podcast channel. This is a guitar channel. But one of the things I was thinking is, when I was talking to Sweetwater about doing this video, is how do we as guitar players and people who want to play on Instagram, who want to play on YouTube, and that sort of thing, specifically use something like this instead of a whole big mixing board that's way simpler. And so I'm going to show you that. But what we're going to use for this, you're going to be very interested in. This is a brand new Dylan Custom Guitars build in collaboration with Texas Toast Guitars in Colorado, as in they did a lot of this stuff, and then I just finished it up with the various electronics and whatnot. And this is actually going to be a project. I know it sounds weird because this is a brand new custom guitar that's not even to the customer yet, but he made some special requests with this thing that I think are going to be kind of fun. So we're going to get into this today, and I'm going to show you this guitar. In order to demo that guitar, we're going to use my Princeton Tone Master, and we're going to plug it into the DLZ Creator, and we're going to kind of do my version of a live stream, but only not live streaming. So now this system is pretty neat. Obviously it is a mixer, but there's a bunch of cool things in here that I think you'll dig. So let's just go over kind of, so I'm just going to tell you there's way more to this thing than you are probably going to use, but I'll just go over them for the sake of covering some of the features. So this is an overview of all the channels. So we have right now, and you can route these kind of any way you want, but basically I have 4 mic inputs, a music input, which basically I use, that comes in from the computer, I think. And then this one, so like if we have the computer plugged in and we want to play a YouTube video in the video or in the production or any sort of thing like that, you can use that coming from the computer. This is to do mix minus, so you can take phone calls. The cool part about this is if you're doing a podcast and you want to take phone calls, that setup is sort of annoying to set up if you've ever set up mix minus before. This is an SD card that goes in the back so you can play files off of it. This is our pads over here, and we can program our pads to do anything we want, from playing intro music to sound effects. So when we get a super chat on our live streams and you hear that, that's me hitting this button right here. And then this is monitor out. So you can have 2 powered monitors, which I also have, which is pretty sweet. But for us as guitar players, what we're probably going to use mostly, obviously, is this channel situation. So now what we can do is we can select each of these channels and we can program them however we want. So we can choose our microphone type. Right now I am on a dynamic because that's what I'm using. And you can choose the color for, if you want to put different pop filters so you can tell the difference between them, whatever. You can bypass all processing, that's something that we'll do when we go ahead and record. Let's just set this up now. So we're not going to bypass processing for our vocal mic when we get it set up, and we'll start talking on that in a few minutes. But now on channel 2, we're going to have a guitar. Well, actually, let's set it up on channel 4 so I don't mess up my podcast setups. So we're going to do no presets, so we're going to do no presets so that it doesn't put any EQ, because we don't want to mess with the amp at all. We're going to bypass all processing, so we're not going to put any additional compression, no pop filter, no de-essing. no EQ, no noise gate, no compressor, no de-esser. So these are all things that can be adjusted on each channel, right? And as we go through, the knobs over here turn so you can change your band EQ, all that stuff. So on a vocal situation, so if we go over here to our vocal mic, it's set up as a dynamic mic, no phantom power. You can auto set the gain. I don't like to do that. Your reverb and delay send and your pan left to right. This is what I have for my podcast microphone setup so that it just works well with my voice. And then Leslie's is a little bit different because she's de-essed a little bit more than me. There's a gate on here, which is really sweet because the reason I like it is because when the dog's walking around or whatever, clicking on the floor, a lot of times you can cut a lot of that out. We have a compressor here and we have a de-esser. But you can, so that's for channel 1, that's for channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4. So channel 4 though, we're not going to do any of this stuff. We're literally just going to leave channel 4 completely alone because we want to have the amp come in there with nothing whatsoever. Our pads over here, we can program them whatever the way we want so you can hear any sort of thing. The theme song or whatever, you can import whatever you want. There's all sorts of crazy stuff in here. This thing is super cool. But let's just keep this simple. Obviously there's reverb and delay, which is really cool. And you can choose the reverb and just like any other effects pedal, right? It's kind of neat. But for guitar stuff, you might want to use that on vocals. If you want to put a little reverb on your vocals, you can come over here to channel 1 and you could throw some effects on there, throw some small room reverb on there and do that if you wanted to, I suppose. I don't do that for podcasting, but if you were going to do some music production, you might want to, which is pretty cool. So then we have really nice high quality faders. They're actually really nice. They feel really good. We have mute and we have monitor solo. One of the really cool features of this mixer is this Automix button. So what you can do is set priorities on these first 4 channels. So Automix we actually use during podcasts so that it cuts the microphone of the other person while the other person is talking. And the reason I like that and the reason I find that important is because we have our microphones very close to each other. So if I'm sitting here and talking and she's sitting here and talking, the problem is that sometimes the microphones will cross-talk to each other, right? You'll hear this microphone in this microphone. So if you hit this Automix button, it will cut down on that, which is really, really cool. Let me show you the back panel really quick. So it's fairly simple in-out I/O situation. We've got 4 inputs here for XLR or guitar cables, 1/4-inch cables. Channel 5 and 6 are just 1/4-inch. This is your out to your powered monitors. So like my JBL 305s, I could plug into this. 4 headphone amps and they're discrete and you can actually use the these to adjust the inputs for each one. We have input 7 and 8 so you can plug in like a phone, like a 3.5 millimeter input. This is the cable that goes out to the computer. There is a trick with this and I will show it to you when we hook it up. What we're probably going to do is we're going to hook our guitar amp up here on channel 4. There's a networking cable. There's a USB for like doing updates and stuff, and then your power on, and it does have a screw-in style captive power supply, which I really like because then it doesn't accidentally pop out. So let's get this thing hooked up to the amp. We'll get some headphones. We'll get a microphone, and we'll get kind of all set up to do basically what I would do if I was going to use my guitar on a podcast and play live on YouTube or to record to an SD card or record to the computer. I'll show you the entire setup. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this setup once we get it set up to give you a tour of this sick new Stratocaster and the project that I'm going to build with it. All right, so let's get our amp hooked up to this dude. So we're going to go to channel 4. We'll worry about the programming of it and all that later. but let's get the hard wiring set up first. So we're just going to plug an XLR into channel 4. All right, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our line out on our amp. Now, if you have a Tonex, hey buddy, if we have a Tonex or we have something else, we would just go into the line out of whatever that is. You could use a 1/4 inch out, you could use a whatever. So then we'll go ahead and plug, I use these AKG headphones, and we'll plug that into the back of this here mixer. And we actually have this microphone plugged in. I'm gonna put it on a taller stand so that I can use it. And then we will see what this thing sounds like. Okay, so let's record a thing. How about that? We've got the Rode Pod mic going straight into the DLZ Creator over here on channel 1. We've got our Fender amp plugged in. We've got the only limiting factor here is the length of my headphone deal. We don't have any. Now we've got some compression on the microphone and some noise reduction so people walking by and stuff won't, you know, give us trouble, which you'll use this in podcasting and various stuff. Now if you're going to sing, you may not want to use some of those effects and play around with that compression and stuff, and you know, so you don't have any weird gating and everything. But in a podcast situation or an unboxing situation like we're doing right here, or you know, a guitar overview situation, that's how I'm going to do it. So the way I would personally do this, there's a couple things. We could hook it into a laptop, and we could with a USB cable, and we could use GarageBand, or we could use an iPad with GarageBand, for example. But what we're going to do right now is I'm actually just going to hit the record button on the DLZ Creator. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up my guitar like so, and that's going to give me a sync click basically, because the microphone on the camera and the signal coming through the guitar will then give me something to sync those two audio tracks up when I do it later. Now, if we were to want to just do this live, we wouldn't have to do that, because we don't even have to record. We could use whatever OBS software or whatever. If you want me to do a different video about how to actually live stream with this setup, because I use a different camera and I do some various things, if you want me to actually show how to live stream with this like we normally do, then I will go ahead and do that video for you as well. Okay, enough nerding about the DLZ Creator for a minute. Let's talk about what you probably are all here for, and that is this beautiful Dylan Custom Guitars S-Style. This is kind of, well, it's built to my spec for one of my customers who wanted to order one of my guitars. For those of you that don't know, for many years, I built guitars. Of course, we didn't do some of the stuff because I didn't have the facilities, and so we were working in collaboration with other builders, which this one is no different. This one is built in collaboration with Texas Host Guitars, and this is a fantastic instrument. What we have here is an alder body Strat. We have a maple neck with a very nice C-shaped neck. It's basically the idea of this thing was to give you kind of, I want a 63 style Strat, but I want it to be more playable for the modern player, if that makes sense. So the tone and feel of an old guitar, but the convenience and versatility of a newer guitar. That's kind of where we're going with this. So maple neck, this has a black Kingwood fretboard, this particular one, because the owner wanted a very, very dark fretboard. And so this is a black Kingwood situation. We've got cryogenically treated frets here. These are medium. I think these might be like 6150-ish, something like that. Blind fret slots. And did he do these ones hemispherical? He sure did. So these have like a hemispherically polished, hand polished fret ends. And there's no fret tangs. So you'll never, on one of my guitars, you'll never get any kind of fret sprout because of the way the frets are done there at Texas Toast. This particular guitar has dots. We have a custom set of pickups that is not even currently on the website. We're going to get to that in a minute. And why that is, you're going to see that over the next week or so. So if you're new to the channel and you've not seen something like this before, hit the subscribe button. One of the things that's very cool about this guitar as well is this is all Callahan hardware. So we have Callahan tuning, safety post tuning keys. We have a bone nut. We have Callahan bridge and tremolo assembly. This stuff is top shelf. We are not talking about any kind of, there's no cheap parts on this guitar. Even the neck plate is solid stainless. This thing is absolutely incredible. The build quality, the hardware choice, I was just I'm really kind of picky about that. When it comes to this stuff, and I worked with Texas Toast to kind of come up with this combination for one of their classes. Actually, we were doing something for one of their workshops, and I said, could we take this a little further and build a guitar out of it for something that I would be interested in? I do know at this point, this guitar is sold. I do know at this point there is one other guitar available at this moment, and it's in a Dakota Red, and it is spec'd about like a 57 with a thin pick guard and all that kind of stuff. Same pickups. And that guitar is actually available as well. So if you're interested, let me know. We'll talk about the particulars of it later, but that's basically the general rundown. And this thing is absolutely incredible. Now, we should mention also, this is a 10-inch radius fretboard. 10 inches is, to me, the perfect radius for versatility. So a lot of folks get hung up on fretboard radius, and I particularly like to go kind of in the middle. I really like a 12, but a lot of people really like a 9.5. So 10 is kind of in the middle, and I think that you will find this a very playable guitar in kind of all genres of music. I think you'll dig it very much. It works really well. This particular guitar is spec'd like an early 60s guitar, so it does have a heel truss rod. We could do that a couple of different ways if this was something that you wanted to custom order from me. This is a really neat guitar. I am just so stoked with it. Now, let's go ahead and let's play it, and we'll talk about these pickups. So the idea behind these pickups on this particular build was to give us like a vintage early 60s kind of feel. Now, for the most part, we've never done like this vintage staggered magnet pull piece stuff, and we've never really done this kind of thing. This is kind of a custom thing, and this set will be coming out. However, there's going to be two versions of it because this particular set in this guitar was wound for this guitar with the idea of this client wants this guitar in more of a Stevie Ray spec. So these pickups are going to be available as you just heard them. They're also going to be available in a Stevie Ray spec, which there is some physical modification that needs to be done to that to move it into Stevie Ray territory. There's going to be some shielding involved. This guitar is going to get a dummy coil. It's going to get a bunch of stuff that Stevie Ray Vaughan actually had in his original guitar. That's why we started with a Sunburst. I'm not saying that we're going to make a clone of his guitar in any way, nothing like that, but heavily inspired by, and to give you an idea what was actually in his guitar, that's something that we wanted to do. So that's what we're going to do. This guitar is going to get a black pickguard. It's going to get black pickup covers. And then the guts of this guitar are going to get modified from the generally available, what you see here in this package, to something very specific, more like Stevie Ray spec. We kind of did this with the Keith Richards Telly, but I did that with somebody else's guitar. This is with one of my builds. So this is going to be from, obviously in collaboration with Texas Toast, but this is going to be one of my guitars built all the way out to spec. Since I've been a Stevie Ray junkie since I was a kid, I've worked with some of the folks who worked directly with Stevie Ray Vaughan when he was alive. I'm kind of 1 degree of separation from Stevie Ray Vaughan when it comes to being able to see his guitars in person. I have a friend who actually owns used to be one of his guitars. So, I've done a bunch of research on this stuff. And so I'm going to show you in the next video what we're going to do to kind of move this into the next phase. So this guitar is available as it is. It's available in a few different colors. There is one available right now in Dakota Red. I will put, actually here, there's a picture of it right here. Spec'd basically exactly the same way, just different color. And that guitar is presently available as far as I know as of the making of this video. Now it might sell by the time you see this video, but if you're interested, let me know. These guitars are not inexpensive. There is a lot of work that goes into this stuff. The fit and finish, I cannot even tell you. This is a proprietary finish to Texas Toast guitars that is kind of meant to be very thin, meant to age. It is a matte finish, not all the way matte, but kind of matte. It is called their 73 finish. That's what's on this guitar. But it's very well finished, even all around the back, the cavities, everything. This thing is top shelf. These guitars are $2,500 and they are very limited. I don't do this very often. A few a year. So if it's something that you're interested in, let me know. But I don't obviously expect 100 people to call me right now and say, hey, I want one of these things. I mean, if that happens, that's cool. But this is not, we make pickups, right? And this is very limited. Sometimes when one of the folks that follows everything we do, follows our channel and says, I really want one of your guitars. That's kind of what happened here. It happens very, very rarely, but we do it. And it's something that I just wanted to share with you because it's really cool. I'm really excited about this guitar and some of the other things that we're doing with Texas Toast guitars right now. This collaboration, it's so fun. And it's something that I think you will really, really dig. If you're interested, obviously get in touch with me. We don't have them on the website. They're not anywhere like that kind of stuff. So just get in the chat on the website and tell me, hey, I want one of those. And we will start to work towards that. It's a little bit of a process because these are one at a time for you. And so, worked into their other schedule. So, it might take a few months to do. However, it's something that is very neat. So something I wanted to share with you today. Now, what do you think? The DLZ. Oh, the other thing before we get back to the DLZ Creator, these pickups will be available in the next couple of weeks. There will be another video that comes out about this guitar. that will talk all about the Stevie Ray stuff and the 2 types of pickups. If you want to go kind of full on Stevie Ray style, or if you want to go kind of halfway there with what you heard today, these will be available very soon. So if you want the sound or the loaded pick guard without spending $2,500 for the whole guitar, we will be able to do that. So that's coming up very soon. Now, let's talk about this DLZ Creator thing. What do you think? It sounds fantastic. It's very easy. When you do a video like this, it sounds more complicated than it really is because I'm trying to explain everything all as we do it, right? So it takes longer. But here's what I'll tell you. When I set up for a podcast on Tuesday for the Just Gonna Say It podcast, or we set up for the live stream on Thursday for our Q&A, it takes me 5 minutes. It sits here on the bar in our studio. We've got the 2 microphones. We come in here, we plug a laptop into it, we hit the button, we turn up the faders, and we're off and running. If you're going to record yourself like this, playing, and maybe you're going to be singing and stuff, once you get your compressor and your limiters and all that stuff set up, and the manual is very intuitive, the interface is very intuitive. Once you get that all set up, you will literally sit down, plug in, start your live stream, and literally start playing. It is absolutely incredible. We have really been enjoying this thing and using it a lot for our various productions. And this is, from now on, this is what we are going to use for our, for our like unboxings and stuff like that. Now, our live stream setup is a touch different, and we use a piece of software for it and stuff. If you're interested in our complete live stream setup and how we do unboxings and play the guitar along and we actually do it live, please let me know and I will share that setup with you because it has changed and we will make a video about it if that's something that you want to do. The link to the DLZ Creator is in the description. The link to a version of these microphones is in the description. A link to Texas Toast Guitars is in the description, as well as Dylan Talks Tone for everything that you see here in the video today. If you have any questions, get in the comments and ask. And thanks for sharing this time with me because not only is that DLZ Creator amazing, this guitar is freaking cool. Stay tuned for the next videos that we have about it. I think you're going to dig it very much.